Hello and welcome back to another big episode of The Head Coach here with me, Daniel. It's Season 5, Episode 8, and today we play our final game of the season on my manager's 29th birthday in the Northern Irish Cup final against Crusaders, where we could seal the quadruple remarkably in our first season at the club. That's right, those who were with me yesterday will know that we wrapped up the league title just before the league split came into place, and since then we've been in relatively good form, but I am disappointed by one thing, which you can probably see already. We lost a game, one of the final games of the season, about 3 or 4 from the end I think. We just gave away the invincible season, but it's still a remarkable achievement. 1 defeat in 38 games, and we're significantly clear of the rest of the field here. We do have problems for our cup final though, so we've got Luke Connon, the left back, out injured. Our other left back is one of 4 players who are cup tied for this final who had joined us in January, so we are a little bit short in certain areas and relying on transfer listed players or players who haven't played for months to come in. Luckily we've been keeping most of them fit in the reserves, but still it's going to be a bit harder than the other 3 competitions, I'd say. You can see one thing that we do have is that we're only the second highest scorers in the league, remarkably behind 7th place Glenarvan, and it's basically a symbol of everything that's wrong with mid-season league splits, because they've just gone and scored tons of goals against teams that are worse than them in the bottom half, while we've been playing the top 6 again and had some fairly tight games, and as a result they then get the accolade of the highest scorers in the league. But that's enough about that one. Let's go and have a look at the schedule. Since you were last with me as we wrapped up the Danske Bank Premiership with a 2-0 win against Portadown after getting through to the Irish Cup semi-final. We played that semi-final a couple of weeks later. One comment I would make is there's a big gap between the games, a 3-week gap in total between the last game before the league split and the cup semi-final. It looks like it was a very dramatic game that I should have shown you against our rivals, but it really wasn't. Aaron Burns missed a penalty in a 90 minutes that contained nothing else. There were 4 highlights in 90 minutes, and 2 of them were shots that nearly went out for throw-ins. We had a penalty shootout, and it was so comfortable in the end. I did record it just in case. It was 4-1 in the end, and to be honest, they missed nearly every penalty. It was absolutely pointless, so there was no drama in it, so I didn't show you. But we then came back to league action. Obviously just 3 days later in the league game we rotated the team a bit. We were trying to give some of our youngsters a run out as we'd already wrapped up the league, just in case we're here next season to make our squad stronger. A 0-0 draw, not the worst at all, but then unfortunately away to Dungannon, it's where we lost our unbeaten record. A winner 5 minutes from time which sealed the game for Dungannon. They did dominate to be fair, so we can't complain overall. However, since then we've been back in good form. Cliftonville, our early season title rivals before they fell away, we comfortably won 4-1 and they only scored via an own goal, before a 2-2 draw away to Glentoran, who finished 2nd in the league and wrapped up the Europa League place automatically. McStravick came off the bench and got 2 when we were 2-0 down and looking in danger of losing 2 away games on the bounce. And in our last game we played the same opponents as we've got today, Crusaders in the Northern Irish Cup final, but in the league game we won it 1-0. It was an unconvincing display, but we just about did enough to get over the line. So we go into this one with fairly high confidence and a fairly good result. One thing I have to show you before we go on is people have been asking me how Dover have been getting on since our last update a couple of days ago. So if we go and have a look at the job security, which will probably tell you all you need to know, they are now looking for another manager or head coach, whichever you'd like it to be. And if we look at the National League, you can already see from there they finished in 21st place. They got relegated back to the National League South, and if that doesn't show how good a job we've done, then I don't know what will. They only went down by 2 points in the end, but let's be honest, that's really not good enough for a team that had been in the playoffs 3 years in a row and a challenge for the title until late on last season. So that certainly made me feel better about my achievements there, and we'll just go and check Bognor as well while we're there. They were just on the brink of relegation last time we looked, but they looked like they had enough of a cushion to get away from it, and it looks like they have. They're in 15th place, and yeah, 9 points clear, nothing really changed there, but Bromley did get out of it. They were the ones who were 8 points adrift. So there we go, both of our teams having mixed fortunes, Bognor floating along quite nicely, and Dover really struggling without us despite not losing any of the players. But that's not what we're here to worry about today. We're here for the big cup final against Crusaders. I said at the start of the season I wanted to win 3 trophies, but I'd kind of see it as a disappointment now if we didn't win a 4th. I know this is going to be the hardest because of the lack of players we've got available, but we're still going to be hopeful of winning it and probably have the better side on paper. As we mentioned already, we haven't got a left back fit in the squad, so Lyndon Kane, our captain and first choice right back, is going to switch over. McKnight's been playing in the last 5 league games and as a result has dropped his transfer request, which is good for us. It leaves us with the following team. Chris Johns in goal, McKnight and Kane are the fullbacks with McKellany and McManus in the middle. Dooley and Burns on the wing with Miss Kelly and Harkin as usual, and McManus and McMahon up front. Top scorer Danny Burke has to settle for a place on the bench, but if McManus gets a hat-trick today, he'll level that tally for this season in 2 less appearances as well. I'll quickly show you the players that are unavailable so you can get an idea of why we're struggling a little bit. Luke Conlon's obviously injured, Kotoy is as well. Michael Thompson, our sub-right winger's cup-tied. McStravick, the sub-striker's also unavailable. Our first choice left-back Stevenson's cup-tied, as is Marty Klukas, who is our star player in the centre of midfield now, which is why Harkin's getting a run out. But let's get into the game. It's the big one for us, Crusaders v Coleraine. We want to wrap up a 4th trophy, and it would be a remarkable first season. If you think about it, coming from non-league at a semi-pro club, to move to, yes, a lesser reputation league in terms of the Northern Irish Danske Bank Premiership. But they're obviously on a similar par because they're playing each other in the Iron Brew Cup, the Scottish Challenge Cup as it was. We've got National League teams and we've got teams from Northern Ireland, as we obviously participated this year. To have those sort of levels, but to be playing in the Europa League and Champions League qualifiers, to be playing in the Iron Brew Cup, to be playing in cup finals, to be playing at Windsor Park, and to have a league title under our belts is such a difference, and something I've really enjoyed. I've got to say, I don't usually get to do this, but we've mentioned a couple of times it's normally the bit we miss out, as Crusaders had the early chance and they've got the throw in again. We'll come back to the commentary if there's any highlights, but what we would say is that during that time where we've done the head coach in previous years, we've always ended up moving on to a mid-sized reputation league after moving up in England or Scotland, which is great, but you also miss out on these sort of leagues that you end up never managing in for years and years. So we've done that this year, which is really enjoyable. I've had a cracking time and I'd have been no aversion to coming back here in the future, or a similar size league or stature. Aaron Burns with a free kick here. Oh, he's crept in! I wasn't expecting that to be anything exciting, so I wasn't ready for it. But Aaron Burns has beaten Crow at the near post from 30 yards, and what a game to turn up for. What a goal that is, and from 25 yards we've taken the lead, and we're on course for our 4th trophy of the year with just under half an hour gone. The last thing I've got to mention in my notes today is that this is the last episode we'll hopefully have with poorer sound quality. As you know, from those of you who've been following me from the start, we used to record these on a laptop and a headset. I'm still with the headset, but we've moved up to a higher quality PC, which has meant the visuals have been much better. As McMahon's in again, will come back. He's in one-on-one and Crow saves. But yeah, as you saw in Season 2, Episode 3 I think it was, the visuals went up superbly as we moved on to this newer PC. But the audio hasn't quite caught up with it, so we've got a microphone coming today, and hopefully from next episode tomorrow you'll see a huge improvement in quality for audio to match the visuals, and then hopefully we'll be on our way to being somewhat a professional outfit, and hopefully we'll be able to find a professional club on the game to take us on as well. McManus gets across into McMahon. What a cross that was from McManus. He might not end up top scorer this year, but he has produced a pivotal pass through, and McMahon puts it in. He couldn't really miss, to be honest, and this game is looking completely comfortable. They've had a shot from the edge which Johns has spilled, but he saved it and it stayed out of the goal. That's the most important thing. It's 2-0 coming up to half time, and we've just got to keep professional now. The corner's not been shown to us, so it can't have been that exciting, as Burns has another go from a free kick, but it's just wide, and on the stroke of half time it looks like we're going to be 2-0 up. Okay then, that is half time. They've said it was a drab first half. I don't think it was. I know I probably wouldn't say that as the manager winning 2-0, but there have been a few chances. It was a decent game. But nevertheless, we'll get the boys to prove a point, and we'll come out for the second half hoping to be in the same form as we were in the first. Harkin to McKellany, McManus, we're just playing it around nicely. Lyndon Kane, the captain's been ever the professional out at left back. We had a game a few games ago where the goalkeeper got injured in the first half, Chris Johns. Luckily he wasn't out long term, but we ended up with a centre half in goal. Or I think it was our left back Stevenson. He ended up in goal for about 70 minutes, but we still won the game remarkably. We had it once with Dover with Manny Parry, who then kicked off about it, but we got away with it as McManus gets in again from a ball from the left, and unfortunately we've wasted that one. Aaron Burns has really turned up for this final. Fantastic goal, fantastic delivery for a few other pieces, and we just haven't taken advantage of the chances. It could be 3 or 4. We're going to think about subs in a minute. I'm really disappointed McManus is only on a 6.8 because that ball for McMahon's goal alone deserved a 7. But with 20 minutes to go, we will make a change or two now. Let's just see if anything comes of this commentary at the bottom. I don't think it will, and we'll make the changes now on the 70-minute mark. Who have we got? We've got Harkin to come off. We'll bring Patterson on, one of the youngsters, to get him a run out. Paul Smith, who's made an impact since January, will come in for Dooley, and we'll give Danny Burke a run, because let's be fair, he deserves it for the season he's had. McManus will come off, and McMahon will switch over to the right side as the advance forward for the rest of the game. Miss Kelly with the corner this time, crosses in, doesn't beat the first man, but Smith on the edge on the right. Lovely cross this time to Burke, who hits the bar. What an impact that could have been. He's been on the pitch less than a minute, and that would have been his first touch and a goal to go with it. Burns with the long throw into the box. I don't know why, I've got short throws on as a setting, but Smith's got it on the right as it's been headed away. It's headed out to the edge of the box, but Patterson will mop up there, and it's another chance for us to bring it forward with Burns on the left. Burns back to Kane to Miss Kelly. Burns on the left again, gets it into the box. Burke first time, that was a cracking effort on the volley, but it has gone wide, and it's still just 2-0 with 15 minutes to go. We've got a throw in on the right with just 10 minutes left. McKnight takes it to Smith. Smith into the box to Burke. He's in one-on-one, and Crow's made yet another good save. He's had a really good game, the keeper for Crusaders, bar letting in that free kick at the near post. Smith with the corner, lovely ball in, deflects down, but Patterson's been adjudged to have handled it. And with a few minutes to go, we look like we're going to be in good mood for our end of season review. We've always been doing it on the end of a disappointing result in the playoffs in our first 4 years. So to finish on a positive will be nice, and will hopefully mean we can reflect a bit more positively on our season, especially as in this one we've won 4 trophies and had a quite remarkable run in the Europa League as well. Cross in from there. Oh, we've given away the clean sheet right at the end. The game result's not going to look as comfortable as it should have been. It's still going to be a win, but that's put a little bit of a tarnish on it. We've almost gone our best to throw away a 2-goal lead again, but we are going to win the trophy. We're going to have 4 in the bank, and of course you're going to get to see that lovely pink and grey suit again. Long ball up, the final whistle goes, and despite all the cup-tied and injured players, we're going to pick up the trophy. And what's going on here? The players are celebrating 10 yards behind the trophy ceremony, which is a little bit peculiar. I've never seen anything like that. I'm sure that's what that presentation stands for, lads. But nevertheless, we've won the trophy, and we won't let that tarnish that, as long as the game doesn't crash now on the way out. But we'll be pleased with their performance. We'll give them a bit of praise for it. We've done a double league and cup in the top tier, so we're more than happy to get that achievement. I know you guys can't see it, but Steam achievements are popping up for me. Let's go and see what they've said about the game. Famous quadruple. Brilliant result for us. We couldn't have expected this when we came into the club. I expected 3 trophies, but not 4. Obviously, the Bet McLean Cup we won for the first time in 30 years. All the others were completely expected. We get all the messages about lifting the Irish Cup. Happy days all around. We'll ignore the interview for now. We get another 40,000 into the coffers, which is great for us. They're delighted with us for getting the 4 trophies, which is absolutely brilliant. We've pleased the board as well, as you might expect. Burns was the star man, so we're going to give him some praise for his performance, and luckily he's happy with that. We've got the Northern Ireland manager watching over at Windsor Park for the cup final. Almost all our players, plus Stephen Robinson. Who's he? He's a centre-half at Crusaders. I tell you what, he looks a good player. I hope my director of football will bring him in. I can see he's already scouted him this year, so hopefully he'll be considering him over the summer, because he looks great. But loads of our players are in contention. Let's hope a few more of them get called up as a result. The players are going to get a bit of a payout for it, and the review, we've won it as we were expected to. Fantastic season for us. There's one more here, and that's just the press conference, which we'll ignore. Let's go and look at our end of season review then. That's the bit we're all here for. We want to see what our players are looking like. The contract situation's good. Danny Burke signed a new one, as we mentioned. There's no one we want to keep who hasn't got a contract for next year, so that's good. If we go into our selection info so we can see the players as they're rated, we're going to go in appearance order first. Obviously this will be a bit different to usual, because some of the first team players didn't join till January on this occasion. But John's obviously the star of the show. 58 appearances and just missed a couple of cup games for us. McKellenny not far behind on 55 appearances, with 54 of those from the start, and Burns made 56 appearances, but only 51 of them were starts for him. McManus and Dooley have been stalwarts. Kane, the captain, was brilliant until we rested him the last few games, and Harkin and McManus have been good as well. If we go and look at the goals, that's the most important bit. Danny Burke belied his rating. He's just a 2-star player, but a player, a youth prospect at the club from the academy. 32 goals and only started 31 games. Absolutely exceptional. I think he's got the best average rating at the club as well. He hasn't, just behind McMahon, but the second best. Absolutely brilliant. McManus wasn't far behind him on 29, and McMahon, despite being injured for a lot of the early part of the season, chipped in with 23 as well. Burns and Harkin chipped in with double figures from midfield. If we go to the assists, we've got 4 players in double figures. Dooley with 21, absolutely exceptional. Burns with 19, McManus 17 and McMahon 15. Danny Burt with 9 and Harkin with 7 as well. And plenty of good performers chipping in as well. Average rating, we mentioned McMahon's the best with Burke just behind. McManus, Burns and Dooley as well. Plenty of attacking players. A quick shout for Jarlath Miss Kelly, who as a young player has really stamped his authority in the central midfield area this season, has been crucial for us. And McManus as a centre-half to get a rating of over 7's exceptional, so well done to him too. If we finish off by looking at the league table, we'll go and have a look at how we got on. If we go to a stage, we've got to skip through all these playoffs for relegations and things. So there's going to be another Europa League place to decide, but we're going to start in the Champions League qualifiers. Obviously, we missed them last year as we came in halfway through the tie and we were already out, basically. But we won the league by 19 points, lost just that one game. So if we are here next year, the objective's got to be invincible, and hopefully we'll be able to pull that off. If we go to our competition screen to finish off the episode, we won the league title, we won the NIFL Charity Shield, we won the Northern Irish Cup and we won the Bet McLean League Cup. We did a brilliant job in Europe. We were already out of this Champions League one when we came in, but we got to the 4th qualifying round, the playoff for the Europa League, and were beaten by a professional side with £10 million players. The only slight disappointment this season really is the Iron Brew Cup. It was the competition I was most excited about managing in this season, but we did lose to the eventual champions in Aberdeen under-20s, so maybe I underrated them slightly. We'll go and have a quick look to see if there's any jobs, because that's what we're going to be looking at. If we can get one season at a big job, it would be great. As I've mentioned before, we'll have a couple of bonus episodes this weekend, so we can make sure we get in a 6th season before the beta for FM19 comes out. So join us tomorrow to see if we're still here at Coleraine, or if we're going to have one last season in a different league with a chance to win more competitions. If not, we'll be here firmly focusing on maybe a run to the Europa League group stages, as well as an Iron Brew Cup title. But a massive thanks for following this season as always. I hope you've enjoyed something a bit different in Northern Ireland. We may be here next season or we may have something different again. If you did enjoy it, please add a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for regular Football Manager content from the head coach every Monday to Thursday at 4:30 PM. And go and have a look in the eye above at our plans for FM19. You can check that video out to see the 2 saves we'll be running across the week then. But a big thanks for watching as always, and we'll see you tomorrow.